Hello and welcome to Fragments of Fragments in its new format with me, Lewis Kirk. I started the blog in April 2012 and I've been posting intermittently since then. There are hundreds of articles that you can find on the site and there is lots to read if you want to have a browse. To begin the episode, I would like to thank those of you who have already subscribed to the YouTube channel and everyone who liked the Fragments of Fragments Facebook page. It means a lot to me when people show that they might be interested in something that I enjoy doing. Now, you might be thinking that I look a little bit uneasy. That's because I am. And you probably noticed, if you're attentive, that I'm reading from paper. I've got a script here, yes. I tried to film the video yesterday without a script, with a few bullet points as a guide, and it was an epic failure. I had grand intentions of becoming the Dalai Lama and delivering an inspired lecture. Instead, I devolved back to a Neanderthal when I was sitting there before the camera with no script. Here's how it went yesterday. Hello. I'm Lewis. I'm from Harrow. And that was the best that I could muster up without a script, without anything to lean on. I was pretty useless, to be honest. And so I wanted to share this with you and make you a part of the experience that I'm having. And I thought I'd be able to just turn it on and chat away, but man, no. It was anyway, I'll explain. I've got it all written down on paper. I can tell you about it. I was unable to film the video as I planned yesterday. Why? Was there an emergency? Nah. Did I get distracted? Or did procrastination take over? No. So then what happened? I just couldn't do it. I was nervous, self-conscious, and had way too high expectations about what I would be able to create. I tried 6 or 7 times to get going, but couldn't, until I was just looking at my image on the phone, wondering what had happened. This is me yesterday, after 6 or 7 attempts. This was a difficult experience, as you could imagine, and it caused me to ask some questions of myself and do some introspection. Why am I doing this? Why am I starting this? What's the point? Why would I talk to the camera anyway? You know, if it's so difficult. And these sort of thoughts stayed with me all night, all day and into the evening. And I didn't get any clear answers. But I have found a way that I can do the video. And it's the magic paper. I'm like Dumbo with his magic feather that helps him to fly. It's the magic paper, Lewis. You can talk. It's okay. And with that, I could be even Ron Burgundy. I could be Anchorman. And if you'd like, I'd sit and read it like this. But I think it's probably better if I just do it like this and pretend that I'm not reading anyway. It'll all become clear why I'm making such a big deal of the magic paper as I get into this. Yesterday, my expectations were too high. They were ridiculous. I expected to deliver a perfect performance right out of the gate, without any mistakes, no ums or just perfect poise and eloquence was what I was hoping for, and instead I got caveman Lou. So forgive me for reading from a script. I need a hand to hold, and this is it. This is my hand that I need to hold to get through the video. Like I said, I'll explain why it's important for me to have overcome this setback. And this will take us into the first tangent that the vlog and podcast will take. I'm going to speak for a moment about failure and the fear of failure, as I know all about it from yesterday's performance. So this next type that I'm going to, this next part that I'm going to begin now is going to be very similar to what the podcast will be made up of. This sort of spiel that I'm going to be talking about. So I've been putting off starting this project for a good while. I would get excited and hyped up, raring to go, but then doubts would rein in and tell me that I couldn't do it, that no one would watch it, you'd make a fool of yourself. But the universe kept giving me signs that I should start. Advice from a guest or host of a podcast, a song on the radio. They all brought to mind this first video, here, now, and that I needed to start. In life, you can fail at what you don't love, so you may as well fail at what you do love to begin with, and then if you want to overcome that failure, you just keep getting back up. You get knocked down and just keep back up. And so that's what I'm making a point today to say. Yesterday I was on my back, I got knocked down, but I want to do this. So yeah, let's go. Let me write it down on the paper and tell you guys how silly I was yesterday, and that now, because I've taken some steps, I'm talking, look, 6 minutes. So imagine the state I was in yesterday. Finally plucked up the courage to conquer YouTube, and I couldn't perform. It was writer's block for someone talking. But now I'm back reading from my magic paper, working my way through the words, sentences and paragraphs until I get to the end and can say goodbye. Not as charismatic as I had visioned. There you go. It's the way it goes, isn't it? Now let's get to fear itself. I suppose the main topic of this first podcast is meant to be about me, but it seems to turn into my fear of talking to the camera and just that fear that everyone has somewhere within them. So many of us have something that we're afraid of that brings anxiety and panic, something that we can't do or can't be near or can't look at. I have an example from my own life, and not my week speaking from yesterday, but from when I was practicing hypnotherapy and counselling. A few years ago, a woman came to me and she had severe fear and anxiety of the London Underground. She couldn't go on the Underground. She couldn't bear to be trapped under the ground. And of course, it proved troublesome if she ever wanted to go into central London, because as we all know, the tube is much more direct than the buses. So I'd learned all about fear, stress and anxiety while I was studying hypnotherapy, and during that process I became aware of a technique called gradual exposure therapy, or as it's sometimes called, systematic desensitization. Now don't be scared of the long words. It's a very simple process, and I'm gonna tell you about it. It's a type of cognitive behavioural therapy, and it's developed by South African psychiatrist Joseph Wolpe. The process of gradual exposure therapy consists of 3 parts. The first step, identifying the fear or the trigger of the anxiety. In my client's case, it was the tube. She was scared of the Underground. And for me, it was speaking into the camera, or is speaking into the camera. The second step is learning of relaxation and coping techniques. So I'm coping with my paper. Without it, I wouldn't cope, and I'd just keep starting again. Once these techniques have been learnt and internalized, the individual must use them to overcome the situations in which their fear and anxiety manifests itself. The ultimate goal being that the fear response or anxiety will become so slight that it will not impact the person's choices and their options in life. So this woman was limited. She's limited to the mode of transport that she can take into central London. Obviously she can get a cab, which would be very nice and comfortable, but about 50 quid. And if she's got an Oyster card, or she might have even been an old age pensioner who got the free travel, you know, to not be able to utilise that, it's a big deal to have to go through a big headache, load of stress every time you want to go up to London. You need to go through all this headache, you know. The fear would come early in the morning. Oh, I've got to go into London. Oh, it's going to be a long day. Oh, if only I could get the train, you know. Already these thoughts would have an impact. Even if she's not even trying to go on the train, she's just woken up and has to go to London, and already the mind is just tormenting her. And I'm not reading from the paper now, so obviously I've relaxed a little bit, and that's good. Yeah, it feels good to have got to 11 minutes and be a lot less self-conscious than I was yesterday. Once all of her steps... Oh no, I've gone too far. So this is the process that we went through to go from being intensely scared and fearful of the tube to being able to travel on the tube without any issue at all. So this is the process that me and my client went through to overcome the fear of travelling on the London Underground. So remember that we're just using this gradual exposure therapy. I wasn't using hypnosis. I wasn't hypnotizing her and impregnating her subconscious mind. That wasn't happening. It was just cognitive behavioural therapy, and through the gradual exposure therapy. So in the first session, we just went out for a walk to a place where there was a tube station nearby. We didn't go near the station. We was just like around. We just went near to the station. And as you can probably imagine, this was pretty stress-free for her. The next session, she needed to push herself a little bit. She had to get out of her comfort zone and go and stand outside of the tube station. So there's Leicester Square. I'm standing. There it is. And session 3 was the real struggle. And it took us a few attempts to get past this one, because we needed to then go into the station. So imagine the anxiety. She's outside the station. I don't like trains. I don't like the underground. Well, we're going to go into the underground now. We have to go in. We have to walk down the steps, get to the bottom, look around, and then we have to walk back up. And for you or me, who's not scared of the underground, it's no big deal to do that. But for this woman with an intense fear and anxiety triggered by this, you could probably imagine how difficult it was for her to make that choice, to make that step. And so yeah, she couldn't do it first couple of times. You know, it was too much for her. But through some counselling and talking, she realised that all she's doing is she's going to walk down and she's going to walk up. You know, it's going to take 1 minute or 2 minutes, depending on the amount of steps. So in the end, she managed. We walked down together. We got to the bottom. She had a look around, and yeah, she pretty much ran up the stairs. But she'd done it. That was her goal. And the 2 final stages were just extensions of that. So before she could go on the tube, we took her all the way down to the platform. So now she went from the lobby, from the ticket area, down to the train platform. And then the step after that, on the following occasion or day, was to stand at the platform until a train came. The train arrives, the doors open, she gets in, stands for 1 second, and then steps out, and then we then we shoot off and go back out of the station. And so that one for her, when she did that one and she realized, you know what, I can come all the way down here and stand on a train. And it's because of that systematic desensitization, that she was systematically desensitized to her fear. Eventually, you know, when we got home from London and she's stood on the train, you know, the months previously, she could never have dreamed of doing that. She would never have thought that that was a possibility, you know, all her life, whatever, 20, 30 years not being able to do it. And she, well, she did it, you know, she did it on her own. I just said, this is what you need to do, you know, you need to do these processes, but it's not me doing them. I'll tell you, that's what you have to do. That's the process. You want to go on the train, right? Okay, that's why you pay me the money and why you called me up. You want to go on the train. So you have to do this and this and this and this. And if you do all of those things, then you'll be able to go on the train. And so once all of those was completed, the level of her anxiety had reduced quite a big factor, and her fear of being in the underground carriage was pretty much removed through the therapy, and she was ready to then get rid of the fear once and for all. The next goal was to travel one stop, to get on the train, be in the train, go, and be, you know, to be vulnerable to that. To be vulnerable to being in the train, in the underground. You don't know what's going to happen, and this is what people who are scared of. They have like an irrational fear. Their mind just churns it over and over and over and over. What if this happens? What if that happens? Terrorism, breakdown. So they work themselves up. Whereas someone who's not scared, I'm going on the train. I'm going to go a few stops. Got to go there. Right, let's go. So for her, this was it. This was the one. So yeah, she did it. And as soon as we did that, the fear was gone. And since then, she's been able to just use the tube freely now. There's no fear, not at all. And if there ever is, if it starts like working up, if she can sense her mind's telling her or constantly associating tubes with fear, she just gives me a call up and we have a quick conversation, and normally it subsides after that, you know, just with reason. If you be reasonable, or I'm reasonable with her, I give her some reasonable facts, then her mind accepts that and she says, oh yeah. So now I intend to use this technique to overcome my own fear and anxiety about talking into the camera. And so although it's 18 minutes in, it might not look like I'm scared. It's only because I got the magic paper, you see. I think if the paper went, then I'd just be back to caveman Lou. So from yesterday to today, I assessed what would be necessary. Yesterday I couldn't talk to the camera. Why? And then I thought about it, and then the first question I asked myself, what would be necessary to be able to talk to the camera? And a few of my friends had said, oh, just talk to it, but don't publish it. Just talk, but it's just for yourself. And so that was very valuable advice and help. But then I thought about the magic paper, about the script. I thought, you know what, if I'm reading from the paper, then I believe I'll be able to just talk then, because what it is it's just, rather than and get really lost, look like a dick, I can just look at the where was I, and then carry on. So that was my thought, right, if I've got a script, I think I'll be able to do all right. So, and yeah, I've done it so far. And then the next step, so if you keep watching as these video blogs and podcasts, as I post them, hopefully you'll see me progress to where I don't need the script. And so the next step for me is to write a script, and a shorter one probably, and to memorize it. So I'd be performing just like an actor would be. Yeah, just write a short, maybe 1 page, and just learn my lines and memorize it, and then just be here. I might be a bit more rigid than I am at the moment, and you can see me remembering. But that would be the next step, and then after that it would be to do what I tried yesterday, to just have a few points that I'm referring to, so just some notes that I just can glance at. Oh, that's what's next, that's what's next, that's what's next. And then my final goal, when I would have considered myself free of this fear, I'll be able to just have the points in mind and be able to start and say hello and then just go. And I've got the talking points in mind, and hopefully end up being able to deliver an intelligible speech without any props. So even if you don't like the content, it may even be interesting for you to just come and see how or see if I can get better at talking into my iPhone. And I haven't really said anything about myself, have I? Apart from that I'm a big pussy. And I haven't said anything about the blog, but I'll focus on that in the next one. I'll get to what I wanted to share in this one, because this one I've just been talking about the fear that many people experience, and that was very clear and plain for me yesterday, so I felt it's a good idea to talk about and share with you today. And so on that note, I just want to say a quick word about what's coming up in the next few episodes, as I've got them in my mind. So yeah, I'll get round to speaking about the blog in the next one, and then the one after that, speech making, oratory and TED Talks will be the following one. Just why I've decided to try and get to where I can make a speech without any props, because in my opinion it's quite a valuable skill and tool if you can talk well. And especially Plato would say about rhetoric, if you can convince people, if someone can convince you to do this or to do that, or that this is better or that's better, then they've got a good rhetorical skill. So I'm trying to hypnotize you all to be my slaves, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm not really, but I might be. And as I said at the beginning, I've put lots of posts on the blog, and they're all there, so you just click to the link. I'm going to put links in the YouTube description and in the Fragments of Fragments WordPress blog website, so there'll be links wherever you come across this. And yeah, there's just loads of blogs there, so you can read, and there's lots of topics. You can just search the topics, and if a topic interests you, search that. There's one that's very popular, even though I don't post regularly. There's one, The Thief Who Became a Disciple. Even though I'm not posting, that regularly gets viewed, and I think I wondered why, and typed it in on YouTube, The Thief That Became, oh no, sorry, into Google, The Thief That Became a Disciple. Type that into Google, and Fragments of Fragments is about the 5th or 6th. No choice, so I've got nothing to do with that. That's just happened because it must have some good content there. The Thief That Became a Disciple. It's like a Zen moral story, and it is really lovely and short, and maybe soon I'll just read it. I'll read it to you guys and talk about it a bit on the blog. And so where am I? See, without the paper I'd be super scared and frozen like a rabbit in the headlights, and I'll be looking for 2 minutes wondering, oh shit, what have I got to say? What's got the magic paper, so I just look. And even though it might take a moment, hopefully I'll find where I am. In a minute. So with all this being said, if you find one blog that you like, you do some browsing and you think, oh, that looks interesting, let me see what that is. This looks interesting, let me have a look at that. And you find one that you enjoyed, you thought, yeah, you know what, that's pretty good. That's a good story, or a good lesson, or a good moral view of the world. Then comment on here or on the blog and just say, yeah, hey Lewis, I really like this one. Can you talk about this one, please? And I'll talk about that one next, you know. And yeah, anything you want to know, if you want to know a bit more about the systematic desensitization and how it might be able to help you specifically, if you've got a fear that you can't think about, or how would that work for me, then yeah, just get in touch. I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and obviously here at YouTube. So yeah, get in touch and I'll help as best as I'm able to. So before I go, I just want to ask, as all the it's a YouTube must, so I'm gonna do it because this is on YouTube. Would you please like this video if you liked it, and even if you didn't like it, can you like it for me? If you've got this far and you're hearing my plea, then you've done well, and please like it and subscribe to the channel, and like the Fragments of Fragments Facebook page that I've set up. And yeah, just one last thing before I go, something to watch out for. A good friend of mine, we've been speaking about my issue, and he was giving me some reassurance, and he's quite the speaker himself, and he's done a lot of meditation, and so we thought about even like a collaboration. So he will make some videos and I'll post them on Fragments of Fragments. So keep your eyes open and watch out for them. If you subscribe, you'll get them directly. But I think that can really benefit a life, some of these practices. I know it has mine, and maybe I'll get to that at some stage. So yeah, that's it. I got through without fainting, without I'm sure there's a few stupid brain farts in there. Sadly, I don't have the technology to edit the video and cut it, and if I'm honest, it'll probably be worse than just putting it out there. This is going to be pretty raw, just me and my iPhone and my magic paper. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, any feedback would be great. And like you can see, I'm not very good at this. I'm a novice, and so give me any criticism or praise, or just any feedback, any comments, what you thought was good or not, or questions, and I'll get to them. And yeah, if you think that what I said about gradual exposure therapy could help you, and that you think, yeah, you know what, I can use that, I can do that, and I can overcome this fear or that fear. And even if you haven't, even if you're not scared of nothing, you're a real warrior and you're not scared of nothing, but someone else is, like, oh, I know Thingy, he's or she's really scared, maybe they could use it, then yeah, share it with them. And if you're really feeling Christmassy and you got the Christmas spirit flowing through you, then just share it, you know, share it on Facebook. Yeah, this is my mate Lou chatting away. And just share it and let other people watch and decide if they like it. You know, if they like it, they might subscribe and watch the next one. And if they think, what the hell is this guy going on about, then they won't watch the next one, and that'll be that. So this is something that I've really had to take in for a long time, with my blogs, I was trying to like write really middle of the road, really, you know, oh, everyone's got to like it. It'll be nice if everyone liked it. But I've realised now that no, I'm not going to appeal to everyone. So I just be this, what this was. This was the first Fragments of Fragments video log and podcast. I hope to put it on podcast at some stage. So this is the first one. I've done it. Look, here we go. So if you've got fears, don't run, don't hide. Just stand up and look at them and take it apart. And how do I get past this? And if you want to get past it enough, then yeah, but why can't you get rid of all your fears, all your irrational things that make life worse? Get rid of them and live a better life. So thanks for watching. I actually quite enjoyed it now that I've got through it, and magic paper. So be good, and I'll see you at the next one, I hope, and try and bring a few friends along maybe. All right, thanks, and see you.